Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bourbon Bytes Whiskey Reviews with a gaming twist. I'm Clifton, and welcome to another Thursday night live stream. Yes, this week is gonna be a doozy, is all I gotta say to start off with. If it's your first time watching, welcome. Not sure if you're catching the replay or catching live, but let me know in the comments below what you think of the stream afterwards, or if you've tried this whiskey that we're trying tonight. Would love to hear your thoughts. But if you're watching the replay, I'm going to put time codes throughout the stream that show you to skip ahead for each of these different spirits that we're trying today. And I use the term spirits very loosely. But good to see so many people here in the house. I see some people are pre-gaming a bit. I saw Zopher, I saw Bourbon Noob, some amazing patrons of the show. Bourbon Noob is a Byte Club member, which, by the way, do y'all like my new shirt? I got some new merch. So if y'all are interested in that, you can go to bourbonbytes.threadless.com. Those are there. There's a few other new designs too. So links down there. But if you want to become a member of the Byte Club, you can join for $2, which is the YouTube membership. There's a little join button down below if you feel so inclined tonight during the stream. You can also support on Patreon and get access to things like our monthly hangout, which is coming later this month, and our after party hangout, which is literally right after the stream, but a little bit different this week because since I'm focused so much on the bad, worst, dare I say, whiskeys I've ever bought during tonight's stream, I thought it would be very fitting to upload my new video a day early. So what's going to happen is right after this stream, theoretically, fingers crossed, it should redirect you over to our live premiere of my newest video, which may be the best $50 or less scotch I've ever tried. So make sure to stay tuned after the stream. Like I said, it should automatically redirect you. If you're watching the replay or if it doesn't work, I put the link down in the description below to go over to that premiere. So we're going to watch the premiere. I'm going to hang out with y'all in the chat there. And then we're going to head over to the after party at the end of the stream. So just letting y'all know, if you see your YouTubes do anything weird and moving you somewhere, don't worry, it should go as planned. We never know, though. Things are always a little bit crazy here. I see Scott Pigsley in the house. He said he's going to go get something in his glass, probably High West Campfire. It's a little cold here tonight. Oh, man. Scott, I haven't had Campfire in forever, but I remember I tried it before I got into peated whiskey, so it was a little bit weird for me, but I eventually grew to like it. So yeah, we have some mods here in the house. We have Donnie the Linux Cat. Howdy to you, Donnie. Speaking of howdy, I'm going to Texas for the first time in the morning. I'm going to go down to Austin for technically not the Bastards Ball. I'm not going to be attending the actual event, but I will be in Austin, Texas, hanging out at the La Quinta Hotel, where I've heard lots of shenanigans go down. I know there's a few other channels that are already there. I know Kilco's there. I know Co-op Whiskey's there. By the way, Co-op Whiskey is doing a stream after this, doing a little pre-gaming party at the La Quinta. So if you're not going to come to our after party, make sure to tune into his stream and watch that, because I'm definitely going to catch the replay of that. Of course, Brandon here, another amazing mod of the channel. Cheers to you, Brandon. What's going on, everyone? Yes, indeed. What do y'all have in your glasses? Hopefully something better than what I'm about to have in my glass is all I got to say. What's up, Sherry G? Sherry G is actually the newest patron, along with Nick the Greek. They get a little shout out at the end of my next video. On my end card, I like to put all my patrons at a certain tier and above. Just kind of a little quick shout out there. So Sherry, I made sure your name was on the newest video. So as soon as that one premieres, you should see your name at the end. Sugar Kitty, good to see you. Also a Byte Club member. Swan, what's up, man? Good friend of the show and member of This Is My Bourbon podcast, which just had their 200th episode. So if y'all missed that, I actually haven't listened to it yet. I have it saved for the plane ride tomorrow morning. So go check it out. This Is My Bourbon podcast. He also did a live stream tonight with the Whiskey Mutant. So go check out all their stuff. They're awesome. Yeah, Fred, what's up, Fred? Good to see you, man. I know you were out last week. You weren't feeling well, so hopefully you're feeling better this week. Yeah, so I think the chat just jumped in. A lot of y'all popped in, so I'm going to keep giving y'all some shout outs, because I'm really just delaying getting into this whiskey is what's happening here. I see Don Nishida. Aloha, my good friend. Don is a patron and Byte Club member, so good to see you. Thank you so much for your support. Emily Chambers, another incredible mod here. Emily, hope you are doing well. Yes, I like the ghost emoji, because this idea literally was because I knew this is spooky month, and I was like, what? I've been saving these whiskeys whiskeys, and I'm like, when should I do these? Because it's like I don't really want to like reach out to the brand. I don't want to like I full disclaimer before I get into my shit talking. Um, everyone's palate's different. Everyone's opinion's different. I don't like to name drop, people and like shame them on the internet. However, I think it's kind of my responsibility as a whiskey review channel to share the things that I like and share the things I don't like. So that's my disclaimer. Again, no disrespect to the people behind the brand. I don't know them. I don't know their story. They may be amazing people, but this whiskey we're drinking tonight, not so amazing. That's where I'll start off with that. Y'all see what I mean here very, very shortly. What's up, Zofer? Good to see you, man. Thank you so much for tuning in. Whiskey Fancy says under $50 scotch. Yes. So that's gonna, as soon as this stream is going for an hour, so right at 8 p.m. Pacific, it should transition you over there, and we're gonna watch the premiere together. I'm gonna pour a little bit of that in my glass to drink with y'all at the premiere of that video. So, Deathless Dogs, what's up? Good to see you. I think I saw you. I think you're on the Discord. I recognize your name, but I don't think I've seen you on the stream. So welcome. Good to see you here. Scott Pigsley, welcome back. Wesley Zeller, another patron of the channel. What's up, Wesley? Hope you're doing well. Perry says, I'm trying to hold it together after drinking 1792 Foolproof. Probably not most conductive to such actions. Yes, I understand that. I actually still have to do a bit of packing after this because our flight leaves at 8 o'clock in the morning and I don't want to miss it. So Whiskey Knows, what's up, Marty? How you doing? Good to see you. Deathless Dog says we've got a bottle of Glyph that's been on the shelf for over a year that we're scared to open. Well, very appropriate one to drink for Halloween is all I got to say about that. Speaking of which, this isn't the first time I've featured Glyph on my channel. First of all, before I get into that, if you're not aware, Glyph is a molecular whiskey. Now, what that means, I'll read it straight from the horse's mouth. They say that they've studied the world's best whiskey and challenged our team to understand what makes them great at a molecular level. With this knowledge, we've identified key molecules that we use to create our own unique products. So they're basically, theoretically, using some sort of scientific process to break down the molecular composition of different flavor notes and tasting notes in whiskey. So all of that, again, I've said before because I have had this whiskey on the channel before. Actually, February of 2020, so almost 2 years ago, I did a review of their original product. I think it was called Glyph 84 at the time, and I had a few words to say about that. So let's do a little instant replay of former Cliffy from February of 2020, and here are his thoughts on the original Glyph, and then we'll get into their latest releases. Take a look. This is something I'm excited to try, but also very, very skeptical and cautious to try. They did include a couple tasting notes on the back of the bottle here. So they say it's not very smoky, a little smoky, lots of sherry, lots of vanilla, and medium amount of spice. That smells like a mixed drink. That doesn't really smell like a neat whiskey. It's like a strawberry, like daiquiri almost. Like I'm getting like a weird like strawberry fruitiness on it. So based on the nose alone, I have no idea if this is going to taste like a bourbon or scotch or neither of the above. So let's go ahead and drink this. There's a lot of burn on that. I mean, it's still super, super fruit forward. Yeah, I'm still trying to, there's no finish. I mean, the finish is alcohol burn. Maybe some butterscotch there. Maybe, I guess it could be vanilla, but I'm getting a lot of alcohol burn. They claim they base this recipe on the finest whiskeys out there. But I don't know what they're using as their finest whiskeys out there. I mean, if this is based on the finest whiskey out there, I might have my cheaper whiskey. It can't replicate. I mean, I would be a lot more appreciative if they tested the science of whiskey and they realized, hey, we can't recreate these products. We cannot recreate the flavor, the fullness, the richness of whiskey. But instead they put this out and they just compare it to the finest whiskeys out there. I think it's a little debatable. So even at half price, it's in my opinion, I think it's a pass. I'm here to help you drink good whiskey, but skip the Glyph. So, as y'all saw, was not a fan. Now again, this was me 2 years ago almost. I was probably a little bit more positive because I wasn't at the point where I'm like comfortable sharing negative opinions on the channel. And I'm still kind of weird about that, especially if a brand were to have sent me a bottle and I don't love it. that's one thing. However, these were all bought with my own money. I have not reached out to the brand. I have not, had the brand reach out to me. This is all my own experimentation with this. Now, the brand behind Glyph, let's get a little bit into the history. I talked a little bit about it in that other video, which if you're watching the replay, I'll put a little link to it up there to watch the full review of the original Glyph. But they are based out of San Francisco. The company is called Endless West, and they take a scientific approach to whiskey and spirits. I think they started with a wine, and then they're working on some other things like a soju kind of thing, or maybe it's a sake kind of thing. Either way, they are out there. They actually just recently, I believe. Let me pull this up, make sure I'm right. I think they just got a big funding. Endless West got a big grant granted to them earlier this year. Yes, they got $21 million in Series B funding in April of 2021. So they got some money behind them. So, like I said, that was the original Glyph. At the end, the very, very, very end of 2020, they came out with 2 new products, which I unfortunately have here today in front of me. They came out with Glyph Royal, which is this one in this purple bottle. And I can't really show you this one because I'm in front of a green screen, so it's not going to work right. But there's one called Glyph Spice, and it's a green label, but it looks exactly the same. It's just, yeah. So knew that was going to work. But so yeah, purple label and green label. These are 2 new products. Similar thing, both molecular whiskey. And by molecular whiskey, I mean they didn't age this at all. This is what they call a spirit whiskey. It is distilled from grain. There's no aging. This is actually crafted in 24 hours and then put into a bottle. So that's something right there. Now, I will say, pricing-wise, none of these bottles I bought at full price. I actually got the first one that I reviewed back in February 2020 half price because the store was trying to get rid of it. These also half price. I think they just sit on the shelves at my local liquor store, and the store's just like, please just take these, get them out of our hands. So I did not pay full price. But I thought, I got to give them a fair review. I didn't love the original one. Let's see, if I love the new releases. Now, there is a different bottle that these are in, which we'll get to that in a second here. But yeah. No, it is not alcohol-free, Fred. I know what you're talking about, and I think that's a gin-based spirit. I know what you're talking about, though. It's in like a really pretty bottle. This is not that. This is alcoholic. It's actually 43% ABV. So there's alcohol in it. Not that that's a good thing, but there's alcohol in it. So we'll take a look at what they describe these releases as. So let's pull up their website real quick. Again, disclaimer, this is just my opinion. The brand, some people could love this brand. So let's pull up their website here. So this is Glyph. As you can see, sciencey, lots of floating and rotating things. And this is kind of their tagline. I read a little bit of something similar earlier on, but all of the spirit, none of the rules. We did it because we dare to do things differently, because the old way doesn't have to be the best way. Debatable. And because nothing great ever came from doing things by the book. That's disagreeable, especially in the world of whiskey. So in the spirit of damn good spirits, we're here to raise the bar to different, to new, to making the most out of every sip and truly living. Glyph Molecular Spirit. All of the spirit, none of the rules. So that's how they introduce themselves, and they get into all the awards they've won and all that stuff. But again, this is full disclosure, this is going to be a bit of a rant during the duration of this stream. So the premiere of my new video will be a nice, refreshing, positivity moment, because we're not going to get positive here. We are going to get serious. I'm going to be upset, and I want to hear your opinions too. So feel free to, sound off in the chat. If you're watching the replay, sound off in the comments. Let me know what you think about that. So let me say this. I just like how Fred's just oof. Let me say this. I am not a purist when it comes to whiskey in the traditional sense. I love experimentation. I love unique finishes. I love people, daring to stand out and be different. I respect that. However, to make a bold comment when you are making something that is very clearly marketed as, a whiskey, it's obvious that they're trying to make this seem a whiskey. to make a comment and say, because nothing great ever came from doing things by the book, that kind of feels like a slap in the face to the entire whiskey industry. I mean, whiskey is definitely by the book, especially bourbon, scotch. Like they are very strict. Now, going outside the lines is all fine and dandy, but it almost feels like they're insulting that by that description there. So that's my first thought. So I don't know if that's the best approach to go with it. But you know what? It's their brand. They can do what they want. Again, just my opinion. But let's go and get one of these in our glass because we have 3 different spirits to try tonight. The first 2 are the new Glyph releases, and the third is same company, but like an offshoot of the brand. And that we'll get to that in a second. So let's go and get the first one in our glass. Let's see which one was the first one to come out. So Spice. Spice is the green label one. So this one, I mentioned the bottle earlier. So if y'all missed it, these bottles, hands down, no debate. This is the one thing that's not debatable. My opinion on this whiskey is debatable. My opinion on this bottle is certain. Now, before my husband left for work today, I had to get him to open these bottles because, I mean, just look at it. The green screen is kind of glitching out a little bit, but there is a lip basically flush with the cork. This cork is normally pushed down further into the bottle. I struggled for 45 minutes the day I bought this trying to open this. Now, I admitted I do have one arm. If y'all didn't know, I am disabled. So there's that. However, it shouldn't take 2 hands to pull a cork out of a bottle. It's just the most ridiculous design I have ever seen. Again, I left it pulled out because I didn't want it to get stuck. And I feel like if I get drunk tonight, I'm going to shove it back in there and I'm not going to be able to revisit this whiskey. So since that's the case, I'm going to pour a good bit of this, even though I really don't want to. I'm going to pour a good bit of this. And that way, in case I accidentally close it, we can revisit. By the way, big difference. They use a real cork on this one. They used a synthetic cork on the original release. So hey, maybe that's a good sign. We'll see. All right, I'm gonna pour enough just so in case I close it. All right, like I said, 43% ABV. By the way, I'm just getting caught up on the chat real quick. Fred says, good idea, but admit when you failed, doubling down doesn't help at that point. And that's kind of the point I was making in that first review I did. What's up, Co-op Whiskey? I was actually just giving you a shout out at the beginning of the stream. Welcome. I'm looking forward to seeing you and meeting you. I was saying that you were doing a stream after this is like a little pre-gaming. So I'm premiering a video right after the stream, but as soon as that's over, I'm hoping people go over and check out your stream. You guys make sure to go check out Co-op Whiskey after the premiere of my new video that comes out right at 8:00 Pacific. The Deathless Dog says they're pulling the whiskey equivalent of OK Boomer. That's, you know what? Yeah, and you know what? I called this a hipster whiskey in the first review. This is new language. Like some of that language that we read right now was not there 2 years ago when I reviewed it originally. So that's new, and it does come across that way. Absolutely. What's up, Lil? Lil is lurking. Lil, good to see you, Mr. Whiskey Shits. What's up, man? Go check out Livewire Whiskey after the stream as well. Make sure to give them a subscribe. The spice must flow. Okay, Fred says, I bet you can't open an Old Fitz decanter either. Well, give me an Old Fitz and we'll figure it out. Never had one, but maybe. It's just an absolutely awful design. There's no grip. Now, my husband was able to do it because he has smaller fingers than me. So like my fat fingers just could not get a grip on. I'm not even exaggerating. 45 minutes. I struggled with it. It literally took from when I picked it up from the store to him get off work before I could actually open it. That's how bad it was. Steven says synthetic corks are best corks. No, totally 100% agree. I do prefer synthetic corks. So maybe it's a bit of a downgrade going to the real one. So let's talk a little bit about Glyph Spice. Again, coming straight from their website. This one says, inspired by American bourbon, Glyph Spice is described as a medium-bodied spirit with notes of cinnamon bark, cherry, oak spice, toffee, caramel undertones, and banana aromas. It's crisp and carries an earthy, savory finish, perfect for those nights by the fire pit. Again, sounds lovely. Sounds like a fantastic whiskey. Except that it's a spirit whiskey, and it's not. It's inspired by American bourbon. It's not bourbon. Um, more accurate would be hipster vodka, whiskey flavored vodkas. Oh, we are ranting now, Lil. I told you, I am in a mood today, and this is part of the reason I'm in the mood. So y'all heard a bit of my ranting earlier today. By the way, if y'all aren't yet on my Bourbon Bites Whiskey and Gaming Lounge Discord server, it's different from the Discord that I was mentioning earlier. It's our own little community there. It's so much fun. We do hangouts and things like gaming nights and things like that. So if you're interested in joining that, you can join us there at bourbonbites.com. That's where we have our after party hangout for patrons. They have an exclusive room that they can get access to, but everyone is welcome to the Whiskey and Gaming Lounge. So if y'all are interested, go check that out. All right, I've delayed enough. Let's get into Glyph Spice. So, like I said, half price. I paid about $18 for this. I think it's normally around $30, $35. Again, they're giving tasting notes right up front. The back of the bottle, which again I can't really show you, but it says baking spice, caramel, oak, and fruit. We've never shied away from doing things differently. Well, let's hope that paid off because you've had over a year since your first release to do some experimenting. So cheers, and may God bless our souls. What is the phrase? Not may God rest our souls. That's all. That's very morbid. May God have mercy on our souls. Cheers, guys, and happy almost Thanksgiving. Happy almost Bastards Ball. Happy freaking Thursday. Cheers. Okay, let me mention the nose first because the nose is reminding me of what I hated about the first release. There's a tasting note that I got in that first release that I actually didn't say in the review. It's actually a note that came to me because I let my husband try it after. And he gave me the most accurate note I've ever been told about a whiskey. He said the original one tasted like or smelled like, you know, those like blueberry mini muffins, like in the little plastic pouch, like they're totally processed and they're like Eric from This is My Bourbon podcast may know what I'm talking about. They're called like little bites or mini muffins or whatever. This on the nose, even this one, this is not the same release as that one. Blueberries, artificial, super highly sugar, super processed blueberries. Now, they say this is inspired by bourbon. I'm supposed to be getting cinnamon bark, cherry, oak, toffee, caramel. No, that's blueberry. That's artificial blueberry on the nose. It's a little cakey. Again, going with the muffin taste. It just smells like a blueberry muffin with sugar on top. Which in itself, you know, those aren't always awful. Steven just said those are not my favorites. Swan says I put a little bite in my whiskey every time. So, anyways, if you're trying to make this like a bourbon taste, I don't know what you're going for there. So that's just on the nose. Mr. Whiskey just says Thursday nights are a busy night on Whiskey Tube. Yes, I appreciate y'all tuning in. I know there's a few other channels live tonight. I don't know if anyone's live at this exact time. There probably is. I think Scotch for Dummies is actually live. So appreciate y'all sticking with me. I know it's tough. It's really hard to find a time that no one's streaming. This just works best for me, especially with the after party after. So appreciate y'all tuning in on Thursdays. I know East Coast folks, it's a bit late, and Hawaii folks, it's pretty early. And people like Lil, it's like midday. So you're like, woo, let's go. All right. So let's make sure to hit the like button before I give this a taste, because this may be the last whiskey I ever review on a live. So cheers to you, Mr. Whiskey Shits. And Fred says, I want us all to die. May God rest our soul. May God rest our souls. Oh man. All right. Let's taste it. Cheers. So I had to think. Oh, Emily says she got her Remus. Yeah. So Emily won a giveaway on a Remus. Actually, on a Remus. I was going to say recent, but on a Remus stream, and she won the past 3 batches. So if y'all are curious about giveaways and things like that, I promise you I'm not going to give you away any of these because y'all don't want them. Trust me. But if y'all do want to see more giveaways and stuff, make sure to subscribe. Those are usually done by super chats, which again, just support the channel. No giveaway tonight, but you know, super chats are always appreciated. If y'all feel the need, unless y'all really, I mean, if I get a super chat high enough, you know, I might, if it covers the cost of shipping, I might send you these. We'll see. We'll see. What's up, old man Joe? Thanks for tuning in. I'm sorry that you're tuning in. Mr. Whiskey Shit says you are locked into this slot. Yeah, I'm happy with this time. Actually, it works out perfectly. Enough time for dinner and enough time to just hang out and party the rest of the night. So I'm glad y'all appreciate the time. All right, let's get into it. I got to get a second sip, even though I really don't want to. Glyph Spice, y'all. So on the palate, I feel like it's a little better than the last one I tried, the original Glyph. It does have some cherryness to it. It's still majority blueberry kind of flavor, very sweet blueberry, but it has like an artificial cherry, like not like a fresh cherry, but like a cherry coughs. Man, I feel so good because these are notes that I always dislike in a whiskey, but I'm gonna say them because it's what I'm experiencing. Cherry cough syrup. It's very medicinal. It's very thin. It's very vodka-esque. And it's honestly the way that they set this up. Let me read to you what's on the label too. Provocative spirits for curious minds, small batch, hand bottled, proudly made by Endless West. Tradition is born by rebellion. Spirit whiskey with natural flavors. So again, I'm not opposed to the idea of doing things differently. However, to call this say that this is inspired by bourbon whiskey, it's an insult to whiskey. I'm gonna straight up say it. This is like you do you. Like I get it. It's a brand. They can do whatever they want. But cut the bullshit. This is not a whiskey in any, it's technically a whiskey because it's, distilled grains. This is a flavored vodka. And that's as much mumbo jumbo and much science you want to put behind it, that you discovered these molecular compounds that are identical to whiskey. You're sourcing these flavor, which again, my husband's a biology major. He basically told me like every flavor, every thing is a molecule. So by saying the molecular formula for certain tasting notes, it's just bullshit because there's a molecular formula towards cherry, there's a molecular formula towards oak. Like yes, technically, but the fact that they're trying to say that they are ethically sourcing these molecules, it's a bunch of mumbo jumbo in my honest opinion. Now again, welcome all opinions. Please, if you disagree with me, let me know. I'd love to debate about this. I'm fired up about this. So yeah. So that's Glyph Spice. Do I recommend it? Do I recommend it over the original Glyph? Yeah. But like not in a good way. I think it's, if you want a cherry flavored vodka that has like a little bit of like, what the fuck does this even got? It's got a little, like it says earthy finish. I do get a little earthiness on it, but not natural. It doesn't taste like an actually barrel aged spirit, which it's not. This was made in 24 hours in a lab. It was distilled and they added flavor molecules. As Fred said, flavor concentrates, whatever the hell. They are doing that. So it's just, it bothers me that they are targeting this as a whiskey. Now, I did notice one interesting change on their website. Ever since I looked at their website originally, the original website said Glyph Molecular Whiskey. I don't see molecular whiskey anymore. And I feel like they're doing a little bit of like a hold up, step back on the molecular whiskey phrase. They're calling it a molecular spirit now, which again, more accurate, is a spirit whiskey. I think they need to really, really reel it in. This is nothing like a bourbon. It may be inspired by bourbon. It's nothing like a bourbon. And just say like, hey, we made our own spirit. We use science behind it. It's pretty cool. It tastes a little bit like cherry and like sort of like bourbon, I guess. But like it, y'all heard the language. I'm not making this up. Y'all see how they position it. They go the whole small batch, handcrafted, handmade approach. But it's just, that's kind of going back to the okay boomer thing about like, oh yeah, your old ways, they suck. That's how they're approaching it. So anyways, enough ranting about Glyph Spice, because we're moving on to our second whiskey of the night. Glyph Royal. So my first thought when I saw Glyph Royal was I thought this was a Crown Royal style whiskey because I mean it's purple. It's called Royal. All the same stuff on the front. Spirit whiskey with natural flavors, 43% ABV. But this one says the tasting notes are sherry, dried fruit, earth, and oak. So they say, according to their website, again, I'm not making up words here. Taking inspiration from a sherry cask aged scotch, Glyph Royal offers a deep, bold warmth for the soul that pushes the boundaries of old world traditions. It's full bodied and luscious with notes of coffee, wood, dried fruit, burnt sugar, fig, and sherry. It comes to a finish with a light twist of citrus. So that's Glyph Royal. Same price, about $30 to $35 MSRP, depending on your area. Again, I don't know if it's outside of California at this point. We're going to leave a little bit of the Glyph spice in our glass to maybe do a little comparison. But yeah, I'm glad to see some of y'all chime in with your comments. Let's see what y'all are having to say about it. Steven's fine with them distancing themselves. He agrees with Fred about them using flavor concentrates. Emily says, but Pinnacle vodka is way cheaper, and I know what it is. Very true, Emily. That's a fantastic point. Fred said, yes, please, on the distancing. Todd said, same thing that Green River did. Nobody likes our reputation for Terrapure. Let's change things up. See, I don't have too much experience with them. I've had some whiskeys from them, but I don't know enough about that. I do know Terrapure is a bad thing based on what I've had from them. Patrick says, screw that. I'd gladly be labeled a boomer if it meant I didn't have to drink that stuff. Cheers to that. Keep that shit in Cali, says Steven. Man. And Sugar Kitty with the facts. Here's what he says. Oh, man. I'm not going to read them out, but so yummy. Oh, man. That sounds delicious. Again, all flavors are chemicals. It's like, okay, I'm going to lose some viewers, but like it's the same people like, there's chemicals in the vaccine. I don't know all those chemicals in that vaccine. There's chemicals in everything. There's chemicals in the apple you eat. There's chemicals in the water you drink. Did you know water was a chemical? Okay, enough about that. We're not going to debate about that. But anyways, let's talk about Glyph Royal. Let me pour some in my glass before I forget and close it. Oh boy. Now I will say this was darker color-wise. But let me point out something here that I noticed immediately after my husband opened the bottle because I can't open this shit with a damn. Let me show you the cork real quick. This might screw up my green screen for a bit, but I want y'all to see this. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 22. I'm just kidding. All right. So let's see if it'll focus. I don't know about you, but to me, the colors in this cork are a little blue, a little gray. I don't know. I'm not going to say for sure, but it looks like the cork has rotted a bit, which is very concerning, knowing that this is a very recent release. And it's also only 43% ABV. I don't know. Y'all tell me, does that look like there's something wrong with that cork to you, or is it just me? And I also should mention, while have my green screen screwed up, I don't know if you can see it. It probably won't show up. It's not going to show up very well. There are some floaties. There are some very thick floaties in there. They're very stable right now, but if you swirl it around a bit, yeah, this isn't going to show up because it's the reflective and stuff. But there are some floaties. It's very grainy looking. It literally looks like a bunch of little like the sand got into my whiskey. I'm seeing a lot of comments saying that's a funky cork. And what I don't recommend doing is smelling it. I rarely have a vomit, like gag reaction to something, but I smelled that cork. And I don't know if it's the cork, if it's mold, or if it's the whiskey. I almost vomited smelling that cork. So, with that, let's get into our glass. By the way, what's up, Darren? He says, I'm not touching that. Yeah. So it's a little cloudy. There's none of the, I don't think there's very many, I don't see any floaties here, but it's darker color. This one's supposed to be influenced by sherry aged scotch. The whiskey smells similar to the cork, but less funky. Oh God. I want to say, and I have gotten into this before. I opened it with my husband. He literally smelled it and thought it was the worst, most disgusting smelling thing he's ever smelled in his life. This whiskey. And I don't feel like it's the most disgusting thing I've ever smelled in my life, but I think it's pretty up there. It's pretty not great, is all I gotta say. There's like a certain mustiness to it. There's like a sorry, it's making my now that I turned that off, I want to fix that up. Whiskey Fancy says looks like caramel color and sugar may have been added. Oh yeah, they do say there's natural flavors added into here, so there's no doubt in my mind that lots of things were added. It doesn't say anything about color, but I wouldn't put it past them at this point. All right, so let's go ahead and, like I said, the nose on this one. It smells like a dirty old sock in a locker room that was left and got a little musty, so it like grew a little bit of mold on it. Um, sorry, there's a spider on my wall and it's crawling down my side and I can't see it. Okay, let's just pretend that that stays there and dies before I get back from vacation. Anyways, it has like a musty. I mean, I could see it's still got the blueberry, but it's like a darker blueberry. It's like a blueberry pie, more like less like blueberry muffin, more like a blueberry like concentrate, like a maybe some grape. There, it's still very artificial smelling. It does not smell real. That's just on the nose is not very pleasant. Andrew Page says, off topic. Sure, of course. But can you do more Scotch content? Your recent Kilholman stream with Impex Rep was great. And I bought the small batch 5 based on that tasting. Oh, that's awesome to hear, Andrew. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'd love to. That's one thing I love about doing this channel is I started out with mostly bourbon content exclusively. Now I'm doing shit spirit whiskey. I'm just kidding. No, but no, I absolutely will do more Scotch. I actually have a stream planned with another representative from Impex Beverages later this month. Let me get the date for that. While you're here, let me see. It's not a Scotch. It's actually a Japanese whiskey. Let me just pull up my calendar. Just a little teaser for you in case you're curious. I gotta log into Google. Hold on, give me a second. But yeah, no. So we are doing the. I can't remember if it's the. I think it's the Fukano whiskey, but it may be the other one, the S one. Whatever, they have two Japanese whiskey brands. I can't remember exactly which one we're doing, but sorry, this is a struggle when I'm trying to like talk and also log in at the same time. So upcoming streams for not just you, for everyone that's curious about what's coming up soon on the channel. Let's see. So next Thursday, I'm doing Still Austin. So I'm actually going to Still Austin this Saturday. I'm gonna be filming some B-roll there, maybe buying some merch. So I'm doing Still Austin's bourbon next Thursday. The following Thursday, I am having Ardbeg on. So we're doing Ardbeg committee releases with one of the Ardbeg's national representatives. And then the following November 4th is when we are doing the Japanese whiskey stream with Chris from Impex Beverages. I don't know exactly which one it is. I will, as soon as I know that info, as soon as I receive the samples, I'll let y'all know. I just know he's sending me samples. So stay tuned. And then again, I have guests planned for every Thursday night in November so far. So if you're new here and you want to see more stuff like that, please subscribe. It does help out the channel a lot. Seeing y'all week to week really does mean a lot to me. So yes, definitely stay tuned. And I appreciate again, I seriously appreciate that comment. Brandon says he hates spiders. What's up, Donner Pass Whiskey? Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, I'm not sure if it was the Fukano or the other one. But yeah, Fred's excited. I know y'all were excited. All right, so I've been avoiding it. Let's go ahead and just dive right into Glyph. What's it called? Glyph Royal. Cheers. It's a little more subtle. Still very vodka-y. I mean, there's none of these that I've ever tried have a good mouthfeel. They all drink like a vodka. They all finish like a vodka. There's not a finish. It leaves a little bit. This one is a little bit of a bitter aftertaste. However, once I'm past that initial shock of the smell, honestly, I think it's the cork. I'm not going to judge this too harshly because I think the cork might be a little messed up in this one because it smells like wet dog mixed with, grapes. The whiskey itself doesn't smell as awful, but it doesn't smell great either. It says it's inspired by sherry cask Scotch. This is a little bit more believable. Not believable that you'll think this is a Scotch. You will never, ever think this is a Scotch. However, it's believable that they were inspired by Scotch with this one, is all I got to say. I guess you could say sherry, but it's more like grape soda. Cherry, it's like, how like in cranberry, they mix like cran grape. This is like cherry grape soda. It has some mustiness, some like artificial leather book kind of note, which is a note that I really do appreciate in a whiskey. Like when it has that like old library, old basement kind of like mustiness. That's usually a good thing in my book. But this tastes so artificial that it ruins all the appeal of that. Fred says you'd think they'd add glycerin in to improve the mouthfeel. Apparently they didn't pay attention to how the crappy mass market tequilas do it. Yeah, well, you would know better than anyone's, Fred. You're like a tequila expert there. So yeah, there's no mouthfeel at all on this. It's just absolutely, you swallow it and you're left with a bitter aftertaste of that like berry kind of note. They say notes of coffee. Yeah, maybe like an old espresso, like that's been like sitting in your freaking espresso machine overnight accidentally. Fig, maybe. Yeah, there's some fig. Again, it's darker. I said grape. Maybe fig as a note. Finishes with a light twist of citrus. If you mean bitter, yes, but not citrus. What's up, Robotic? Sorry you had to tune into this stream, but hey, I'm giving y'all my opinion. So that's my thoughts on Glyph. This is, again, I've had the original, which I reviewed previously. This is the new Spice and Royal, but we're not done. We got one more whiskey. Sugar Kitty says fruit flavors are a lot easier to create than a lot of spice and herbal. That would help create the sherry. Lil says you are not bitter at all. Oh, not again. I bought these knowing that I wasn't going to like them. I did not go into these expecting much. The first one, I went into it thinking it was so cool. I was so excited for it. This one, after I smelled the cork on that Royal, but what's up, Scary Peeper? Hope all is well. Been too long. Cheers to you. Cheers to you, my friend. Yes, if you guys are still looking for Halloween decorations, check out Scary Peeper. He has a store on Amazon. He has some really cool masks. I featured them on the channel once before. He sent me a blind flight, so y'all got to make sure to check out Scary Peeper. I'm not sure if he has a website. Scary Peeper, is it scarypeeper.com? Maybe, but I know you're on Amazon, so check him out on Amazon. Really, really cool mask. I told y'all the story about how I got in trouble scaring my husband with the mask last year. That will never do that again. That mask is long stored away because he almost killed me that morning. So, is there a blue one too? So, Lil, the blue is the label for the original one. So that was the original one is the blue one. So it just says original. That review that I gave earlier was basically that one. But no, the one we're getting to next is under a different name. So I was reading Dr. Passy says, after 11 days without a CPAP machine, I finally got a replacement today. Can now be unconscious and continue breathing. It's little things. Oh, little things? What the hell? No, that's like a big thing. I'm so glad that you got that solved, man. That's tough, and that's great that you got that figured out. That's well wishes to you, my friend. Yep, search Scary People on Amazon. Thanks. Yeah, of course, man. And happy Halloween to you. All right. We got 15 minutes left. Like I said, for those of you that missed it, I'm premiering my new video right after the stream. The stream should automatically take you there at 8 o'clock, which is in 15 minutes. So we got one more whiskey to get through before we go to the premiere of that new video, which is what I think might be the best scotch under $50. So let's move on to our final whiskey of the night. And this one is a whiskey. It is a whiskey. We're going to talk about... Hold on. Y'all have heard of Angel's Cut, right? Like the Angel Share. And you've heard of Devil's Cut, which is like the Jim Beam thing. Well, get ready for Creator's Cut. This is a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey with natural flavors. Handmade. Same percent, 43% ABV. Now they actually make this under a different label. Uh, Steven says, "Wait, it's got wax. It must be fancy." So they bottled this under the name Blank Collective. However, I looked it up. It's a subsidiary brand of the same company that makes Endless West. So it's the same company. However, this does say Kentucky Straight, which that means it's one from Kentucky, two straight. If there's not an age statement, it says straight. What is that? At least 2 years old? Am I right about that? 2 years old bourbon? Or is it if it doesn't have an age statement, does it have to be at least 4 years old? Y'all bourbon experts in the chat, let me know, what does Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey mean if there's not an age statement on the bottle? It goes over my head right now. But anyways, with natural flavors, which basically disqualifies this from being a bourbon. So this isn't a bourbon. Let's make that very, very clear. Lil says 2 years. Thank you so much, Lil. Yeah, that's what I thought. 2 years old, at least. At least 2 years old. Thank you, Brandon. Andrew says, creator's cut sounds like a horror film or a Christian film. I see. Maybe both. A Christian horror film would just be like people going to hell and like, oh, that's what you get for being gay. Like that's probably what a Christian horror movie is. I don't know. Whiskey Mutant. Well, what's up, man? I was giving you a shout out about y'all's stream earlier. Had to get the kids to sleep. Did I miss the reveal? Oh, well, you missed 2 of them, but don't worry. There's one left. We're going to the creator's cut. Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey with natural flavors from San Francisco, California. Hipster whiskey, y'all. All right. So less than 2 years has to be age stated. Not just 2 years, but straight requires no artificial flavorings. See? There's some sketchy shit going on because Kitty says if it says straight, there needs to be no flavors. However, maybe they get away with it by saying Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey with natural flavors. I don't know. That's all we know about this one. I'll read you the back of this bottle. The legend of Creator's Cut. Our heroine toiled tirelessly with notes of cherry, wood, and spice. There's those notes again. Upon striking the perfect balance, she heard a knock at the door. There stood the devil, demanding the batch for himself. Not to be left out, the angels descended to wage an epic battle for a portion. In the final days, our heroine broke a truce. The devil would get his share, but not before the angels took their cut. Thankfully, our heroine stashed the bottle, the Creator's Cut, to rebuild the recipe and bring it to you. Rebuild the recipe. If you're stashing an original bottle, why do you need to rebuild the recipe? Is all I gotta say. What's up, 21090? Good to see you, man. Yeah, the label instantly makes me worry. Lil says it's whiskey, not bourbon. It does say bourbon whiskey on the label, though. That means there's something sketchy going on. I don't know. But wax, says Todd Koopa. I agree, man. Is that natural color? Well, we say they have natural flavors. There is no comment about color. So color-wise, what I plan to do for the stream is to compare this to like my cheapest bourbon I have and the cheapest scotch I have and the cheapest Irish I had. However, I ran out of time. Color-wise, though, it's not very red. I mean, this is Evan Williams 1783. It's a similar color. It might just be the lighting. So it's not very red, but it's I don't know if there's color added or not. They did heroin. Nonsense. Poppycock. All right, so let's now I found a little bit more information about this one. They don't have a website for this one, which is very interesting. It's not a whiskey, let alone a bourbon, so calling it straight has zero meaning. That's what Sugar Kitty says. Good point. All right, they say that this is made and bottled by hand, y'all. Handmade. Wow, incredible. We experimented with a range of charred American white oak staves. We experimented with a range of charred American white oak staves and add body and dial up notes of maple syrup and dried citrus, and fell in love with the result. The bottle you're about to enjoy today. So, what's up, Robot Scott? Thanks for tuning in to this shit show. All right. So this is Creator's Cut Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey with natural flavors, which may or may not be a Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. All right, man. Oh, cheers, Bourbon Battalion. What's up, Bobby? Good to see you, man. My first thought on this whiskey is the exact same thing I said to my husband. I'll say it to y'all. You know how in that first video they said that or that first video that I featured earlier tonight, they said that they took the finest whiskeys in the world and they based their flavors of Glyph on the finest whiskeys in the world. If this is a whiskey question mark that they think is the finest in the world, I could see why the rest tastes like that. It has that blueberry note, which I have never, ever gotten so dominantly on a whiskey. It smells, honestly, it just smells like the first one. It smells like the Glyph spice. But this was supposed to be the most real one, the creator's cut, not the Angel's Share, not the Devil's Cut, the creator's cut. That's supposedly like remade from recipe. But it's gonna get a pleasant nose. Robot Scott says he's packing for the Bastards Ball. Well, Scott, I will see you there if you're gonna be at the La Quinta. I'm not gonna be at the ball, but I'm gonna be at the La Quinta. So we're flying in tomorrow morning. So hope to see you there. Please introduce yourself to me. I'm so bad with like names and faces and stuff. So if you're there and you see me, say hi. I'll be there with my husband. So cheers and good safe travels. Because I got to pack right after the stream. Emily says yummy plastic blueberries. All right, we got to give it a taste. Cheers, y'all. The only thing this has that the others don't is a bit of a finish. There is some like smoky, kind of like smokiness on the finish, maybe some of the oak, but it's so dominated by that cherry, that fake cherry that I imagine is the same stuff they put in the Glyph. It's just so dominated by it. So that's I had high hopes for this one. I thought this was going to be the redeeming factor. This was going to be their, hey, we know this Glyph experiment was weird. This is why we're putting it under a different name, under the name, what did I say it was? So bottled by Endless Quest. Blank Collective. Sorry, I grabbed the wrong bottle. Blank Collective is the name they put this under. So I thought maybe they were like, we're distancing ourselves from Glyph. However, the fact that they're all like handcrafted, we sourced a wide range of charred American white staves. How much I want to bet this is just sourced from the cheapest place in Kentucky they could get it. Again, I don't know for sure, but my guess is this is basically the same stuff that's being sourced for like, Total Wine brands. I just don't think this is, and when I say Total Wine brands, I mean like the Terra Pure stuff y'all were talking about earlier, the green, what's the name of the distillery y'all were talking about? I'm sorry, I forget the name of it, but they've changed names a couple times. But that one, it almost feels like it's just sourced from there, and then they just add a bunch of shit to it to make it taste better. Do I pick a favorite? Green River. Thank you. Yes, Green River. Not Greenbrier. I was thinking Nelson's Greenbrier. Completely different. Completely different distillery. Thank you, Todd. Do I have a favorite tonight? No. Do I recommend any of these three tonight? No. This is the first time I've ever done a stream and not recommended at least one bottle from it. I'm sorry. If you came here, if you clicked on a stream called The Worst Whiskey I've Ever Bought and expected me to say I recommend it, then I'm sorry, you're wrong. And I hope you stick around for the premiere of what I think is one of the best scotches I've ever bought. So, yeah, let's make that clear, Todd. Nelson's Greenbrier is really good. Yes. Don't get confused. It's not Nelson's Greenbrier. It's the other one. So there's a place in Kentucky that uses trash cans to age. There's that one too. I don't know. I just absolutely. I'll echo myself that I said early on. Love experimenting. Love brands that are doing something different. I like unique finishes, but this ain't it, boss. This is just so disappointing, so aggravating that they think that they could go against the tradition. Again, let me go back to their original statement. I'm going to pull it up again. This is what they say on their own website, where it will end with the same quote. Because the old way doesn't have to be the best way. and because nothing great ever came from doing things by the book. So, made from the molecule up. Whiskeys owe their flavor or aroma and mouthfeel to hundreds and sometimes thousands of molecules. Well, yeah, no, so does everything. During the distillation, barrel aging, we source these molecules directly from the plants and yeasts rather than obtaining them through distilling and aging. By using the same building blocks as conventional distillers, we create fine spirits through a process we've developed called note-by-note production. So they map out the flavors. They source from resource-efficient natural flavors. For example, esters found in fruit, sugar found in cane and corn, and acids found in citrus. We use a grain-neutral spirit from corn. Yeah. Y'all can find out all this info and more at glyphspirits.com. Glyph spirits.com. But yeah, that's all I got to say about that. So thank y'all for watching. Like I said, don't leave, because in 3 minutes, this video is going to transition over to the new video that I just put up. It's a premiere of my review. I've been teasing it all night. I'll tell y'all what it is. It's a review of Compass Box Orchard House, which I knew that video I did not film in front of my green screen because I knew this would do this. So it looks kind of like this. I don't know. You'll have to stay tuned for the review to see it. But this whiskey is one of my biggest surprises of 2021. So stay tuned. If it doesn't automatically redirect you as soon as we end the stream, please click the link down in the description below. It's right down there. I put it right before the stream. But hopefully it'll automatically redirect you. Let me know in the comments. I'm going to be in the chat for that premiere. So head on over there as soon as this ends, and then we're going to do the after party for patrons after that. Thank y'all for watching. Hope to see a lot of y'all at the Bastards Ball, or in Austin, not at the Bastards Ball, but in Austin. And for the rest of y'all, I will see you next Thursday with a Still Austin stream. I'm so excited to get into their whiskey, their gin. It's going to be a lot of fun. So looking forward to this weekend so much. I'm so excited to, like I said, meet everyone, all the whiskey tubers, Matt, Jason, Chad and Sarah I've already met, but meet them. Will, Sarah, Rock Gut Review. Oh my God, so many amazing faces. Robot Scott, like all the amazing people here. So cheers, y'all. Stay tuned. See if it auto transitions you there. I'll be in the chat. And if you're watching the replay, go check out that video after this too. So with that, cheers. And I'll see you guys over there in 2 minutes. Stick around. Let's see if it works. Fingers crossed it'll work. All right, cheers.